Okay, this is just a short video on what life was like in Rome, and we will take into account some different things: slavery, the roles of women, the roles of the family, a little bit on the military, and on the Roman religion. In class next time, we will talk about the advent of Christianity into Roman society and how that really changes things. This video, you also have a couple readings to do with this video, and you'll need to turn in the questions for those readings that you got in class in at the next class. So, life in Rome. Rome emphasized the values of strength, discipline, and loyalty. 90% of Romans are farmers. Okay. In Rome and the smaller cities, you have the working class, you have soldiers, you have merchants, slaves, foreigners, philosophers. All these people come together in the metropolises. Most of them, obviously, Rome is the most influential. Slavery is very important. As much as one third of the population are slaves, and these are not. This isn't, as I've said before, this isn't race-based slavery like we had here in the Americas. This is based on people conquered, who were taken as prisoners and turned into slaves. Property usually treated cruelly. Work at hard labor in the city, or they work on farms. Okay, social status, very important in Rome. As we've already discussed with the patricians, they live pretty well. Okay, most people are just getting by, but the rich are doing very well. Um, Much of the city of Rome, the population is actually unemployed, and they live off of government handouts, rations of grain, government housing, um, and this leads to fatal fires and maybe some discontent. So, to kind of keep these people distracted and to keep control over them, the government creates 150 holidays during the year. They call this time of bread and circuses. Okay, they would have these celebration. People go to the Colosseum, and which could seat as many as 50,000 people, and see all sorts of stuff going on. This is where the gladiatorial contest took place. These are brutal contests with a lot of blood and gore. You've got wild animals from distant lands fighting each other to the death, and then gladiators would be fighting animals, but they would also fight each other. And as I said before, they called this bread and circuses. They would give people food and entertainment, and that was supposed to take their mind off of what else was going on, how bad their life was. Roman army, greatest fighting machine the world had known to that date. Okay, it's divided up into legions of about 6,000 men, and each of those is broken into a smaller group of what's called the phalanx of about 15,000 men. They fought in squares similar to the way the Greeks did, and the Spartans, which we've already talked about in that phalanx, where you would have a fighting square, and they would have shields. Everybody would have a shield, and they would have a shield all around. And then the guys behind would put their shields on top, which protected you from bows and arrows and things being thrown at you from up above. And then the guys with the shields had a very short sword, and they would stab at in close combat. Very difficult to defeat this solid shield wall in this phalanx. Okay, family life. As you will find in the readings in much more detail, the father has absolute power. He's called the pater familias. Okay, people are encouraged to work hard and be loyal. But a father could sell a child if they were bad, and you may have caught that when you looked through the law tables last week. Arranged marriages still existed. Usually girls by age of 14 were married off. So many of you would be, if you were living in Roman times, this is what you would be looking forward to very soon, or maybe not looking forward to. Women have no legal status early on under the Republic, but gradually they gain some power. Enough to own land and have influence over politics because they have influence over their husbands. You have the wives and sisters and often aunts and mothers of the emperors who become very powerful in their own right because they have the emperor's ear. They influence the emperor and can, make a lot of difference. Okay, education. Roman education is well-rounded. Usually it's administered by Greek slaves who were thought to be very highly educated. Women are allowed to be educated. This is a big difference from Athens and a difference from a lot of the societies that come after. Roman civilization spread to other lands. A lot of cultural diffusion going on and absorption of the ideas of other cultures. Romans pretty much borrow their whole religion from the Greeks, as we will see right here on this chart. So you have comparison of the Greek gods that they shared. Okay, Aphrodite, the goddess of femininity and beauty, is Venus. Ares, the god of war, is Mars in the Romans. Athena becomes Minerva. Hades, the god of the underworld, becomes Pluto. Hermes becomes Mercury. Poseidon, the god of the water, becomes Neptune. And then Zeus, the chief god, becomes Jupiter. So as you can see, Romans borrowed a lot from other cultures. But they did have their own thing, and it was very much centered on this religion. Monday in class, we're going to look at how Christianity develops, and it kind of upsets the apple cart. People look at things in a lot of different ways once this idea of an afterlife that is brought forth by Christianity comes to the fore. So, you've watched the video. Hopefully you've taken some notes on it. You will need to finish reading the Roman Society and Roman Women handouts, answer the questions at the end of the packet, and I will be collecting those in the next class. That's all for now. We'll get together again.